Okay, so here's a massive paradox in the business world. Why is it that companies who can clearly see the future coming so often fail to actually do anything about it until it's way too late? Today, we're going to break down a really powerful thinking tool that explains exactly why this happens.
So, let me start by asking you a question. Do you think that just seeing what's on the horizon is the same thing as being ready for it? I mean, is it really that simple?
Most leaders would probably say, yeah, of course. They treat awareness like it's the finish line. But that belief, well, it's a dangerous trap. It can paralyze an entire organization, even when the future is literally staring them right in the face.
And that's what we're going to call the awareness trap. It's that super frustrating situation where a company sees the future perfectly, but that clarity just doesn't translate into the right actions to actually survive it.
At its heart, it's all about awareness without incentive. See, the company talks a great game about the future, but everyone's paycheck, their bonus, their promotion, it's all tied to keeping the old way of doing business profitable, not the new, risky one.
So what you get is this huge, fundamental conflict. It's like a battle between what the company knows in its head and what it actually rewards in its bank accounts. And that, right there, is where the inertia really grabs hold.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? Awareness is all talk, seeing the future, launching some small, underfunded innovation team. But real action? Whoa, that's about moving real money, changing how people get paid, and making some really painful sacrifices to the old business model.
And this gets us to the absolute core of it all. A company's real strategy isn't found in its fancy PowerPoint decks. It's in its incentive plans. If you want to know what a company really cares about, don't listen to the big speech from the CEO. Go look at how they structure their bonuses. Okay, so how do you spot this inertia in the wild? How can you tell if a company, heck, maybe even your own, is just talking a good game versus actually gearing up for what's coming next?
Well, there are some classic telltale signs. You'll hear the leaders talking up the future, but then you see all the real money, all the investment still flowing to the old cash cows. The so-called future projects are starved of cash and authority, and there's always that classic excuse: the market isn't ready yet. These are giant, flashing red flags. So, what happens when this inertia really takes over? This isn't just some harmless corporate habit. No, it's a predictable path, a logic that leads straight towards collapse. And it builds and builds until you hit a point of no return.
And here's the really uncomfortable truth that drives this whole thing. Real preparation requires sacrifice. It means you have to give up some of today's guaranteed profits for just a chance at success tomorrow. And that's a trade-off that leaders who are paid based on today's numbers are basically programmed to avoid. The logic is so simple, it's almost brutal. If everyone's rewards are tied to protecting the old way of doing things, then the new way will always be delayed or defunded or just dismissed. It's not that the vision was wrong. It's that the incentives were just too strong. So this delay just keeps going, sometimes for years. The company keeps kicking the can down the road until, bam, it hits a cliff. The old profit engine finally sputters out, and suddenly the cost and the chaos of trying to change become completely overwhelming.
And this right here, this is the critical difference. Before the collapse, making a change is a strategic choice. You're in a position of strength. But after the collapse, it's just a desperate scramble for survival. The costs go through the roof, the market loses all faith in you, and you are no longer in control.
Okay, so understanding the problem is one thing. But the real goal here is to give you a simple filter you can use to cut through all the corporate jargon and see what's really going on.
This isn't just about looking back at failed companies and shaking our heads. This is a thinking tool. It's a mental model that you can use anytime you hear a company talk about a big new strategy, a transformation, or a major pivot.
So here it is, the one question that cuts through everything else. The next time you hear a company promise it's going to change, just ask yourself this: which powerful incentives would this change destroy? The answer to that question will tell you so much more than any press release ever will. It shows you the real roadblocks, and it gives you a much clearer, much more honest picture of what's probably going to happen next.